All right. Good morning, or good afternoon, or good evening, wherever you're joining from. Uh, Welcome to Not Your Daughter's Yoga. Today, we're going to have a nice flowing practice that'll leave us feeling kind of smooth and mellow and relaxed and ready to carry on with our day. So, if you haven't already rolled out your mat, go ahead and do that. And then we will start lying on our backs. You can make your way down onto your back gently. As you do so, just pick up your hips just a little bit and settle them back down so that you have lots of room for your lower back. Of course, you're welcome to stretch out and take up as much space as you like, or you could plant your feet a little wider than hip width apart, bent knees, and allow those knees to relax in towards each other so they can support each other, and you can take a restorative pose to begin your practice. If you like, you could keep your hands over yourself. You keep your left hand over your heart and your right hand on your belly, or you could just spread out, take up lots of space, whichever feels right for your body. As you come onto your mat, I want you to clear out space in other areas of your life as well. So you've carved out this physical space and this time and this place for yourself. And now I want you to carve out that time and that space mentally as well. So keeping in mind that you've made a commitment to do good things for yourself, you've brought yourself onto your mat, and you are making the space and time to take care of your own needs first and foremost. Everything else in your life can wait. So the to-do lists, what you're gonna make for dinner, the calls you gotta make, emails, it can all wait. Do the yoga and then do all the other things. That's how I suggest. That's how I start every day. I do the yoga and then I do all the other things. And trust me, they'll still be there when you're done. So as you come down onto your back and you make yourself very aware of where you are at this moment, I want you to just take a scan of your body and notice how it's feeling at this moment in time. As you scan, I want you to just observe without judgment, which is incredibly hard to do. But try and distance yourself and just observe. So taking in areas that are feeling good, loose, warm, energetic. Other areas that might be feeling a little conservative, a little tight, a little bit of tension. Areas you're feeling a little protective of. Just noticing how you're feeling in your body on this particular date at this moment in time. And once you've taken time to observe, now it's time to hit the big reset button. So using the breath, inhale through your nose. Huge, deep inhale, pausing for a moment at the top, and then sigh that breath out. As you sigh it out, feel your body soften in response. Feel your body letting go of tension. We're going to do that 2 more times. So again, nice big inhale through the nose. Filling all the way up. Pause and exhale. Let things that you don't need right now leave with your exhale. Just let them go. One big reset. One more big reset, I should say. Inhale. Make this the biggest breath yet. Filling slowly from the bottom of your lungs all the way up to the top. Holding for a moment. And then exhale. Sigh it out. Let it all go. It's not serving you right now. You can deal with it later. And now you can begin to cultivate the breath that will carry you through your practice. So inhaling smoothly through the nose to the count of 4. holding for a moment, and then exhaling through the nose to the count of 4. Inhale, 2, 3, 4. Pause. Exhale, 2, 3, 4. Pause. Inhale, 2, 3, 4. Pause. Exhale, 2, 3, 4. Pause. You find a rhythm that works in your body, feels smooth and sustainable, and just focus your entire attention on generating that smooth and steady rhythm of breath. Keep the breath moving, feeling a nice rhythm developing. As you put your attention into it, it might feel trivial at first, might not feel like important work, but it is incredibly important work, because once you've set your breath for 5, 6, 8 rounds, it begins to become automatic, and then your breath will carry you through your practice. So keep breathing. And now we'll begin to invite some movement in with the breath. So as you inhale, I want you to peel your toes up and clench your hands into fists. Exhale, relax the feet and hands. Inhale, fists and toes curled up. Exhale, relax the hands and feet again. Inhale, squeeze. And exhale, release. Wiggle fingers and toes. And now you can just take some gentle movement in your body. So you may like to rock your hips back and forth. Perhaps rock the head as well. If you rock the hips and the head in the opposite directions, you get a very gentle little mini twist going on there, which can be quite nice. And then coming to stillness, I want you to hug your right knee in the direction of your right armpit and your left knee in the direction of your left armpit. Giving those knees a gentle squeeze. And you can hug your head up in the direction of your knees, squeezing yourself tight into a little ball. Stay for a breath. Exhale. Get long, long, incredibly long. And then you can roll over onto your right side and pause there for a couple of breaths. Getting your bearings. Keeping that breath nice and steady. And then gently bringing yourself upright to a comfortable seated position. As you're coming up, making sure that you just scoop out the flesh from under your bum so that the bones right at the top of your femur, your hip bones, are really firmly in contact with the floor, and you're sitting up nice and tall. Shoulders are down away from your ears. And it's as if there's an invisible thread right at the top of your head and someone is pulling you straight up. So your spine is really nice and long. So on an inhale, tilt your chin gently skyward, noticing the range of movement there. Exhale, tilt the chin down to the chest. Inhale, tilting the chin up. Exhale, bringing the head back through center. And then slowly beginning to take circles with the head and neck. As always, feel free to pause anywhere where you feel like you just need extra attention. You've got a sticky spot that maybe just needs you to work it out a little. Or if you don't, just keep rolling. Just keep rolling. And then you can take it in the other direction when you're feeling ready. There's an expression here that they use in French. When they ask you, comment ça va? You could say, ah, ça va bien. Or you could say, ça roule, which means it rolls, it's rolling, it's moving. And yeah, so I hope your neck is rolling and that it's good. I think it's kind of a funny little expression. All right, so we're gonna bring our arms out into a T. Bring your left arm underneath your right arm. Continue to wrap them for eagle arms or bring the hands to the shoulders, your choice. Pushing the elbows up, duck the head forward and down, breathing into the space between the shoulder blades and really rounding into the upper spine. So let your head and your neck become heavy and you're really not focusing on holding them up. Instead, you're focusing on pushing back in that space between your shoulder blades and rounding the upper spine. Breathing into it. One more time. Exhale, head can come up. Uncross the arms, bring them wide, and then this time we'll take the right arm underneath the left, yogi's choice, eagle wrap or hands to shoulders, pushing the elbows up, ducking the head forward and down, rounding into that upper spine and breathing into that space. One last breath. And opening the arms. Bring the left hand down beside you on the floor. Walk those fingers out to the side. Right arm stretches up and over. Just make sure that that right hip stays firmly in contact with the mat. So if it's rolling up, come out of your stretch a little bit. And really get long through the right side of the body. Let the head and neck relax. Really enjoying that feeling of just opening the right side of the chest. And then come up to center. We'll take it on the other side. So right hand comes down, left arm up and over, left hip staying in contact with the floor. Active left hand. Try not to let your hands be sort of listless. Why don't you go for active hands? You can pose them any which way. If you're like a dancey person, you want to do something dancey, that's fine, but just keep them active. Breathing into the ribs, long side of the body left side of the body getting long. And coming upright again. So your choice, you could do this with legs crossed or with legs outstretched. Just make sure that you're sitting up nice and tall first. Right hand is going to come to the outside of the left knee, left hand directly behind. Inhale, getting tall. Exhale, twisting toward the right. Let your head and neck be relaxed. If you're trying to work your way into a twist, resist temptation. And picture that twist coming right from the base of your spine. Exhale, and you can untwist, and we'll take it on the other side. So left hand to right knee, right hand behind. Inhale, tall. Exhale, twisting. Again, checking in, making sure the head and neck are relaxed. The twist is coming from the base of the spine. With each exhale, just try and relax into it a little bit more. Last breath. Exhale and release. If you have your strap handy, you can grab a hold of it now. Now we'll do some shoulder flossing again this week. So starting with the hands fairly wide apart. Definitely wider than shoulder width. So starting with your arms fairly wide apart, measure it out. Inhale, bring your arms up overhead. Think about getting really tall. Exhale, let your arms relax back, and maybe you're able to bring them down, or maybe you just hang out. Staying for the breath, and then inhale, bringing the arms back up overhead and bringing in a strap in front. And then we adjust as we see fit. So you may want to bring your hands wider. You may want to bring them in a little closer. Inhale, bring the straps overhead, getting really tall. Exhale, letting the arms relax back. Perhaps coming down, perhaps not. Inhale, bringing the arms back up overhead again. And exhaling in front of us. And then again, third time, adjust your hands as you see fit. Inhale that arm up. Exhale back. I move my hands in quite a bit, so I'm not going to get past here, but I'm just going to hang out here and enjoy it. Exhale. On an inhale. Arms up overhead. And exhale. Hands down in front. So while we've got a hold of our strap, we will bring it around just below the balls of our feet. And then we're going to outstretch our legs. So legs are zipped together, toes are flexed, so feet are pulling back, toes are pulling back toward you. You can take both sides of the strap in one hand, and then sitting up really nice and tall, I want you to walk your chest toward your knees. So I think we often think about trying to go forward with our head, and I want you to come forward from your chest. So you might not come very far forward at all, and you start to feel sensation in the backs of the legs and possibly the lower back, and just coming into that sensation and being like, okay, yep, I feel that. That's a good place to start. We just want to introduce ourselves and be gentle. Breathing into it. And exhale. We can set the strap off to the side. If you are not already lengthwise on your mat, bring yourself lengthwise. And we're going to hang out a little bit in boat. And this is often one that we come through quite casually for a little bit, but we don't hang out here a lot. So to come into boat, I'm going to ditch this sweater. To come into boat, you want to rock back onto your tailbone. But what I want you to think about is keeping your back flat. So if you feel like you're rounding your back, pull your chest forward. You can have your hands down at the sides, but make sure that you're on your tailbone and that your lower back is quite flat. Then you can zip the legs together and bring the shins parallel to the ground. Your choice, you can point the feet or flex the feet. A lot of people find abdominal engagement is easier when the feet are flexed. And so we're just going to hang out here in boat. If you feel like your balance is good, breathe the arms up the side. Breathe big. Feel like your heart is extending forward so that you're not slumping. You're really breathing your chest forward. One more breath. Exhale, bring the feet to the ground, and then we're going to do some cow and cat right from here. So taking a hold of your shins, you can bring your feet narrow hip width apart. Inhale, draw your belly and sternum forward, gaze moves up. Exhale, now you can round your back and really let yourself slump coming into cat. So inhale, drawing the belly forward, gazing up into cow. Exhale, allowing your spine to slide back. Really, I really like to just hang out here for a second. It feels really nice. Inhale, drawing the sternum forward. Exhale, coming back into cat. One more time. Inhale into our cow. Maybe this time try and look a little bit higher. Exhale, coming into cat. And then we're going to reappropriate that nice flat back. So we're drawing our sternum up again, not as far as it would be in cow, but drawing it up, rocking onto the tailbone. Hands can be at the sides. And then I want you to zip the legs together and lift the shins, pointed or flexed feet. And then bring your arms, if you're adding in arms, coming back into Navasana, boat pose. Big breaths here. Try and keep your heart directed forward. If you find that you're slumping back, heart comes forward. 2 more breaths. 1 more. Exhale, and feet can come down. Beautiful. We'll bring our knees around the side and come onto all fours. Doing a little bit of heart opening here before we head for downward facing dog. So something that's available to everyone, and no matter whether you're doing kneeling downward facing dog or the standing version, is starting from your knees, just walking your hands forward, walking them forward, walking them out pretty much as far as they will go, and opening your heart toward the ground. Let the head and neck relax. Let your heart open toward the ground. So big thoracic chest opener here. Stay for 1 more breath. And then we're gonna walk the hands back to something that's much more moderate, keeping the toes turned under, sending the hips back, and coming into our modified downward facing dog. So just finding that difference between puppy dog, which is the full heart opener, and downward facing dog. If you're a kneeling downward facing dog, anytime you're there, I'd like you to really activate your hands. So the base of each one of your fingers is really active. And I want you to imagine that you're pulling your knees in the opposite direction of your hands so that you're attempting to rip your mat apart. So hands pushing forward, knees pushing back. So really engaging here. And then on your next breath, I want you to contract. So I want you to imagine that your hands are pulling back and your knees are pulling forward, and you're trying to put that mat back together again. You're trying to push the 2 sides together. Good. Now, so exhale, and I want you to rip the mat apart. So pushing hands and feet in opposite directions. Inhale. I want you to put the mat back together again. It's amazing how much muscle engagement you can get just from a little tiny movement. 1 more time. Inhale, pull that mat, rip it apart like you're the Hulk. Exhale, push it, put it back together again. Beautiful. Bring your hands back underneath your shoulders. And then we're going to do a little bit of twist work here. So picking up the right hand, inhale the right arm skyward, opening the right side of your chest. Exhale, draw it underneath you. So you're threading the needle. Inhale, sweeping the arm skyward. Exhale, threading the needle down and through. Inhale, sweep it up. Exhale, down and through. One more time. Inhale, sweeping it up. Exhale, down and through. Holding. If you like, you could come down onto the shoulder and the side of your head. And then coming back up onto all fours, we will open the other side. So inhaling the left arm up. Exhale, thread that arm underneath the right. Inhale it up. Exhale, thread it down and through. Inhale it up one more time. Exhale it down and through. You can stay reaching, or if you prefer, come down onto the shoulder and the side of your head. Staying in the twist for a moment. And then coming back up into tabletop position. So yogi's choice, you can set your hands a bit 6 inches forward of your shoulders if you would like to stay in kneeling downward facing dog, or you can hike the hips up and back to come into standing downward facing dog, in which case walk that dog. You can straighten your legs one at a time. In either case, you're really opening that heart toward the ground. Stay for 2 more breaths. Exhale and make your way onto your feet at the top of your mat. And we will meet up in a forward fold. So feet narrow hip width apart, micro bend, gentle bend in the knees, torso hanging heavy over the legs. You can cradle the arms one and the other, just allowing your upper body to be heavy. And then as a gentle breeze comes along and begins swaying you around, and just enjoy that gentle movement. Nice, lovely swaying. And then come to stillness. We'll bring the hands onto the shins. Inhale, coming halfway up to a nice flat back. Exhale, forward fold. And then inhale, we're going to roll all the way up to stand. Arms come overhead. Palms can come up overhead to touch. And then hands come to heart center. Inhale, arms up overhead. Exhale, gentle bend in the knees. Swan dive all the way down. Hands are coming down to the mat, and then we're going to step the feet all the way to the back of the mat, lower onto the knees, and untuck the toes. So getting ready to come into our chaturanga is make sure that your body is a solid board. So nice straight line from your shoulders back to your knees. Inhale to prepare. Exhale, lower down as slowly as you can with control. So bringing the thighs down, hips, belly, boobs, if you have them, and finally your head. So on an inhale, draw the chest up, neck up, and finally the head looks up for cobra. Exhale, head coming down. Let's take 2 more of those cobras. So inhale, chest, neck, and head rise up. Exhale down. One more time. Coming up into cobra, feeling the lift from your lower back. Exhale it down. Lovely. Turn the toes under. Use your powerful hands. Push back up onto your knees. And then your choice. You can bring your hips back and leave your hands forward as you open your heart to kneeling downward facing dog, or hike the hips up and back and come into the standing version. You choose which version you'd like at this moment in time. Breathing deep here, powerful hands. Big breaths. One more big breath. Exhale, we're going to make our way onto our feet. Walking to the top of the mat. And then rolling all the way up to stand. Awesome. So we're going to bring our toes together and heels are out a little bit wider. So we're going to stand pigeon-toed. Otherwise, everything's the same. So abdomen's engaged, shoulders down away from the ears. Inhale the arms up overhead. Part the arms and sit down in that invisible chair. So bringing our hips down. Now, when you come down, we have this, ability to have our butt sticking out. It wants to go out. What I want you to do is come up slightly and consciously tuck your tailbone under. It feels a little awkward at first, but tuck that tailbone under, then keep squatting. If you find that that's a little bit tough on the arms, you can bring the hands to the shoulders. Just keep squatting and breathe. Big, powerful breath. One more breath. Exhale, coming into a forward fold. Enjoying that, just that nice feeling of folding, and you can sway a little bit if you like. Beautiful. And then we're going to roll up to stand. We'll take our warrior two. So we'll start by stepping the right foot to the center of your mat. Hands can come onto your hips. And then you're going to bend both knees and take a giant step. So your left foot is going to step to the back of your mat. And that left foot, the outside of the left foot, is parallel with the back edge of your mat. Your left instep is directly in line with your right heel. So you've got this nice center line here. And your right ankle is ahead of the knee so that you have room to lunge forward. Beautiful. Right arm forward, left arm straight back. Big inhale and a lunge deep. As you come into that lunge, use the power of your right toe to push that right knee out away. Lovely. Coming into our warrior two, we can add in archer arms. Inhale the left arm forward. Exhale, draw it back. Inhale forward. Exhale, draw it back. You can follow with the eyes if you wish, but it's not necessary. Inhale forward. Draw back, keep lunging low. Inhaling it forward. Exhale, draw back. Bring the head to front again, still lunging low. Turn the right hand palm up. Scoop the air up and back for revolt warrior. Keep lunging low. Arms come back to warrior two. Stay for a breath. And then we're going to bring the right forearm onto the right thigh. And I want you to rotate the left arm up over your head. And make sure that your palm is facing forward. Beautiful. Coming into side angle. Stay for a breath. Coming back upright to warrior two. And rising up
in the front leg. Whew, stay for a breath here. Now on your next inhale, I want you to reach as far forward with that right arm as you can. Exhale, bring that right arm down. So it could come to the thigh, the calf, ankle, floor. Rotate the left arm so that it's straight up overhead and your palm is open. So if you feel like your palm is turned in some weird way backwards, rotate your arm so that it's open, so you have room for your shoulder. Big breaths. Keeping a bend in the front knee. One more breath. And I want you to really, really, really bend that right knee. Rotate the left hand down to the mat. Bring the right hand down on the outside of the right leg. Turn on to the left toes. And then fold the left side of your mat over. So you can come down onto the left knee and untuck the left toes. Grab your block and have that handy. You can scoot your right foot over to the right side of your mat a little bit more so that your feet are clearly on two separate tracks. And then using your hands on your thigh, bring yourself upright. So we're going to get ready to do our lunge forward. Just make sure that your right ankle is ahead of your right knee first so that you have room to go forward and down. So inhaling to get tall, exhale, sinking those hips forward toward the ground. Keeping in mind that staying right here might be the appropriate choice on any given day. You have options, but this one here is a really good one. If you would like to explore coming down a little further, you can bring both arms to the inside of the right leg and bring the hands down onto a block. If that's going well, you could explore bringing those hands onto the floor. And if you're at all interested in coming into full lizard, pick up your toes. So flex the toes on your right foot. Put your right foot on a 45-degree angle, and then you can safely proceed down onto your forearms. Don't come down unless your toes are picked up and your foot is on a 45. It just protects the knee and protects your joints. So no matter which version of lunge you find yourself in, just imagine that you are melting into it. You find yourself in stillness and you're just breathing and being. The sensations arise, maybe some very intense sensations, emotions, associations that arise. You can observe them and then let them go. I'll stay for 3 more breaths. One more breath. So if you're down on the mat, bring yourself upright again. Both hands on the ground. Gently draw that right foot back by the left. You can, if you used equipment, set it off to the side, unfold your mat, and we'll take a little child's pose before we take the whole journey on the other side. So walking the hands forward, bring the forehead down. Perhaps you'd like to stretch a little bit while you're in your child's pose. So walking the fingers forward, and then you can have them take a little walk over to the right, stretching out the left side of the body. I like to tent my fingers up. So they're like the little insects that are walking out here. This gives a nice stretch. I'll walk them back through center. Now walk them over to the left. Breathing into the right side. And then coming back to center. And yogi's choice, you may wish to stay in child's pose for a few more breaths, or You may wish to take a couple of breaths in downward facing dog. No matter which choice you take, keep the breath moving. Big, calm, strong, smooth breaths. Last breath. And then slowly make your way onto your feet, coming to the top of your mat and rolling up to stand. We'll prepare for our warrior adventure on the other side. So hands can come to your hips. Your left foot is going to stay in the center of the mat. Bend both legs. Take a giant step with your right foot to the back of the mat so that the right edge of your foot is parallel with the back edge of your mat. Your left ankle is forward of your left knee, so you have room to lunge. The left heel is in line with your right arch, so you've got one center line here. Inhale the left arm forward. Exhale the right arm back. Lunge forward. So coming into warrior two, making sure you're using the power of your left big toe to push the left knee outward. Staying tall, and then add in the archer arms. Inhale it forward. Exhale, draw back. Option to follow with eyes. Inhale forward. Exhale, draw back. Inhale. Exhale, draw back. One more time. Exhale, drawing it back. Bringing the head forward. Stay for a breath. Inhale, turn the left palm up. Scoop the air up and back, but keep lunging forward. Don't rise up in your lunge. So coming to revolved warrior. Exhale, coming back to warrior two for a breath. Exhale, bring the left forearm onto the left thigh. And again, rotate the right arm up overhead. So your palm is down, which leaves your shoulder blade open. Coming into side angle here. Inhale. We're going to push into that front leg. Come back up to warrior. Stay for a breath. Exhale, rise up in the front leg. Stay here for a breath. And then on your inhale, reach as far forward as you possibly can. Exhale that hand down. So it can come to thigh, shin, ankle, floor. Rotate the right arm. So the right arm is straight up overhead, but your palm is also open. So if your palm is facing back, turn your palm so that it's open. Gaze can rest wherever it's comfortable. Hanging out in our triangle here, Trikonasana. Stay for one more breath. And then we're going to put a really big bend into the left leg. Rotate that right hand down. Come on to the right toes. And you can bend the right side of your mat over so you have cushioning. And then wiggle that left foot over so that your legs are really separately onto two separate tracks. Separately on two separate tracks. Redundancy. Bring the hands onto the thigh, coming upright. And so we'll get ready for a lunge on this side. So starting out nice and tall, always thinking about rising up. Ankle is ahead of the left knee. On your exhale, let your hips relax forward and down. So again, this might be a totally great place to hang out for the entirety of our lunge. If you'd like to come further down, bring both arms to the inside of the left foot and you can bring them down onto your block. If that's all right, maybe you bring them down onto the floor. If you'd like to explore coming into full lizard, pick up your toes, put that left foot on a 45-degree angle. So the foot is extremely flexed. It's on a 45-degree angle. And then you could explore coming down onto the forearms. Each stop along the way has its own benefits. And what was appropriate on one side may not be appropriate on the other. If at any point you feel like you went one stop too far, then just back it up. One last breath. Coming back up onto your hands if you were anywhere else. Gently drawing the left foot back by the right. And we'll unfold the mat. And take a child's pose on this side. So we'll bring the knees together this time. Hips are on heels. And again, you can walk your hands forward. Bring your forehead down to the mat. And maybe this time you'd like to bring your hands into prayer pose. And then bring them onto the back of your head. Just finding a bit of stillness and enjoying this lower back opening. Just a really nice way to let go of some of the lower back extensions we've practiced earlier. Taking some nice slow breaths here. If your breath has become labored or rushed at all, just slow it down, smooth it out. And again, I'll invite you to stay exactly as you are if that's what's working for you, or you could come up into your version of downward facing dog, taking what you need at this moment in your practice. Taking one more breath, and then slowly walking to the top of the mat, making your way onto your feet, and rolling up to stand. We will bring ourselves sideways on our mat to come into a wide-legged forward fold. So you can start with your feet a little wider than your hips, and your hands can come on to your hips. And then just walk your feet or shuffle them out slowly, just feeling your way into it, finding that stature where the outsides of your feet are really pressing down really firmly, so you've got lots of grip. You're feeling challenged, but you're not feeling like the legs are so wide that you have no stability. So coming to stand really nice and tall. Inhale. On the exhale, hand right at the hips and come into forward fold. You can bring your hands onto your shins. So letting the head and neck relax. If you like, you could bring your hands onto the floor, or if you have your block here, then you could even begin to walk your hands back underneath you, or use your hands on your shins to draw your chest gently toward and under yourself. On an inhale, come halfway up out of your bend, making a flat back. And then exhale, come back into it again. Maybe finding there's a little bit of difference. I just want to make clear that at all times you're keeping a little micro bend in the knees, no locking the knees out. You're always keeping some bend there. So again, drawing the chest forward and perhaps underneath. Big breaths here. One more breath. And then slowly Rolling up to stand, and we will heel toe the feet in a little bit. Going to come into goddess. So your feet are still quite a bit wider than your hips, but not as wide as they were before. Arms can come straight out into a T. Bend at the elbows and then have the palms face your head. Inhale, think about getting really tall and engage the abdomen, squeeze the bum, and then exhale, sit down on an imaginary chair for your goddess. Stay for a breath here, and then we're going to pulse a little bit. So on your inhale, come up. On your exhale, you can come down if you like. You can bring the arms down as well. So inhale up. Exhale, coming down. Inhale up for 3. Exhale down. Inhale up for 4. Exhaling it down. 2 more. Inhale up for 5. Exhale down 1 more time. Inhale up for 6. Exhale, coming down, keeping the arms into a T, hanging out here for a breath. And then exhale, coming up. You can turn your feet frontwards and walk them in. We'll get ready to set up for a tree. Just lost the word entirely for tree. So if you know you would like the assistance of a piece of furniture or a wall, go ahead and move yourself to that location now. And we'll set up a nice firm base. So feet narrow hip width apart and finding that sweet spot. So maybe playing with the balance a little bit, coming forward on the toes, coming back in the heels, and then just finding that really nice sweet spot just by the arches of your feet. Hands can come to your hips. Find that place for your gaze to rest. So something just very banal, very boring, and very not moving. Train your gaze on that point, and then transfer your weight onto your left foot, so I'll mirror you. Inhale the right leg up. Exhale it out to the side, and you can plant that free foot anywhere except on the knee. So it could be above the knee, or it could be shin, ankle, toes down, whatever works for you. As you come into that, squeeze your bum in, press the free leg and the free foot and the standing leg into each other. Hands come to heart center. Keeping the gaze trained on that very boring, non-moving point. And then you can come into your tree. Find out what kind of tree you have going on this week or on this day. And hands can come back to center. Bringing them onto the hips. And then gently inhale that free leg forward. Breathe it up. And then exhale it down with control. Beautiful. Setting up for the other side. So again, finding that sweet spot of balance. Fixing that gaze. Transferring the weight onto the right foot. Inhale the left leg up. Exhale the knee to the side. Again, plant the foot above or below the knee, wherever works for you. Squeezing the bum in, and then hands can come to heart center. And then explore growing tree on this side. Hands can come to heart center and then down to the hips. We're going to inhale that free leg forward, extend it out, breathe it up. and lower with control. Gorgeous. Nice work. We're going to come into squat. So if you know that you would like to come into squat on the block or bring yourself down onto the floor ahead of time, by all means, go ahead and do exactly that. So we'll start with our feet wider than hip width apart, and toes are out on a 45-degree angle, whether we're standing or already on our tushy. Make sure also that your upper body is broad and tall. So even if you're already sitting, I want you to think about getting tall and staying tall. So inhale, on the exhale, sinking down, or if you're already down, just think about bringing the outsides of your upper arms in the direction of the insides of your knees. If you come from standing, once you're down, you can wiggle around a little bit and just find that sweet spot. So once we're all in our squat, knees, we've been encouraging them to open by using gentle pressure of the arms, gentle encouragement. And you can just find a place to be. So making sure that you're staying tall, slowing the breath down, smoothing it out, and then just allowing yourself to sit in the sensation. Last breath. And as we come out of this, if you're not already down on your bum, bring yourself down gently. Set your feet a little further forward than they were before, and your choice. You can hold your arms one on the other, or just bring the hands down by your sides and then gently roll up onto the outside of each hip. Just getting a nice little massage there, allowing that huge hip opener to just release. Good. And then we will bring the knees together, and you can bring your arms underneath your thighs. Relax your torso down in the direction of your thighs, and then allow your head and neck to relax, coming into a restorative forward fold. Enjoying the feeling of letting yourself stretch, but in the most passive way, really. And your choice, you can keep staying exactly as you are here. You can just stay exactly as you are. If you would like to pursue a slightly more active type of stretching, then extend both legs out long in front of you, draw your toes back toward you, and continue folding. I would encourage you not to use your hands on your legs or your feet to pull yourself forward, but just to allow yourself to continue folding. The action is in the flexing of your feet. So that's what separates an active stretch from a passive stretch. And both kinds are very useful. One more breath. And rolling up to sit. We're going to come down onto our back. So you can plant your feet a little wider than hip width apart. Draw your sternum forward, playing around with that shape we made at the beginning of class. Then releasing your legs and allowing yourself to gently rock back onto the spine, keeping yourself tall, controlling your descent until you can't control it anymore and you come all the way down. We'll set up for bridge. So if you'd like to do a little bit of restorative bridge, have your block ready by your hips. So we're going to plant the feet just below the hips. Hands are down by our hips, palms down, and head is facing straight up. Inhale to prepare. Exhale, push those hips skyward, using the power of the backs of your arms and your feet primarily to push those hips high. With each exhale, see if you can push them a little higher. One more breath. And you can release your hips down. Gently windshield wiper the knees. And this time we'll set up so we can hang out for a few breaths in restorative bridge. So again, planting the feet, hands down by the hips, and your block is just by your hand. Inhale to prepare. Exhale, push the hips skyward, and then bring your block so that it's above the top of your bum, but below the middle of your back. So you're finding there's this kind of flat sweet spot. That's where we want to get our block. And then bringing yourself down onto it. If you need to adjust, just push into those feet. Adjust your block as necessary until you find the positioning that works for you. I'm working with a really small block this week, so I find that if I put it on the lowest side, it's too low for me. So I'm actually going to turn my block so that it's slightly higher. So you could try that too if you're looking for a slightly deeper extension. And then once you're there, just allowing yourself to relax. If you wanted to explore, you could walk your feet out away from the block. No obligation to do that, however. Again, this is a place where you can just settle in and notice how your breath is behaving. If you need to, slow it down, smooth it out. We're going to stay for 2 more breaths. On your last exhale, I want you to push your hips sky high. Get them right up there. Remove your block. Bring the hips down to the ground and windshield wiper the knees. Back and forth. And we'll set up for pigeon. So crossing the right ankle just below the left knee. So across the left thigh. The right knee is coming out to the side. So you're making the figure 4 with your legs. Head looking straight up. So your first option is just to use your block and bring it to the inside of the right knee. Use your hand and just gently encourage the hip opening in the right hip. You could also use your strap or use your hands around the back of your left thigh. So hugging that thigh in toward you. Keep this right foot, keep these toes flexed. So they're really peeling back toward the right knee. The whole secret is here. So keep that foot engaged no matter which variation you're in, finding your way into reclining pigeon. And once you're there,
Just imagining that you can send your breath right down into that right hip, helping it to relax, helping the outer flexor to just feel some extension. Stay for 2 more breaths. After your second exhale, you can release your left thigh if you had a hold of it and uncross the right leg. We'll set up for the other side. So left ankle crosses just below the right knee, that left knee coming out to the side, and those left toes are flexed. So the left foot extremely active. So option, bring the block to the inside of the left knee and just use the weight of my hand to gently encourage that left hip to open. Or I can use my strap or my hands, drawing my right thigh towards myself. Just remembering, keep these left toes actively peeled back to protect the left knee. Coming into the version of reclining pigeon that works for me on this side. Five slow breaths. Last breath. As you exhale and release, uncross the leg, and then we'll take a spinal twist. So we're going to cross the right leg over the left, no gap between the thighs. Arms can come out into a T or cactus arms. I have a wall here, so I prefer to do cactus arms. Both of my shoulders are flat on the mat. I'm going to pick up my hips and send them ever so slightly to the right, and then allow my knees to relax over to the left. Option to use your block somewhere near your left thigh or your left hip so that your full weight of your legs can come onto that block and you can completely relax. Make sure that this right shoulder stays firmly pinned down to the mat. Like if you were an insect in a bug collection and someone had pinned you down, you just want that shoulder to stay pinned. Coming into your reclining twist. And as you're here, I want you to, much like we did at the beginning of practice, I want you to try less. When we come into twists, it's often helpful to just tell ourselves, stop trying. Just relax into it. Let what's going to happen, happen. Relax and enjoy. Last breath. And gently draw your knees upward, uncross the legs, straighten the hips. If you're going to use a block, bring it over by the right now. So again, arms in a T, cross the left leg over the right with no gap between the thigh. And then pick up the hips, set them off ever so slightly to the left. And then we can allow both knees to relax over to the right, perhaps positioning the block so that the full weight of the legs can come onto it. And again, making sure that that left shoulder stays on the mat. If it's creeping up at all, that means you need to bring your block in closer and prop yourself up a little bit more. And once you come into your twist, you've arrived, you are here, and now you can stop trying. And just let the twist do itself. Last breath. And gently draw your knees upward, uncross the legs, straighten the hip. And then it's your opportunity to take any movement that your body may be craving. So perhaps you want to hug your knees in or reach your arms through. Take a hold of the insides of the outsides of your feet to come to happy baby. Rock on your back a little bit, or maybe you just want to just stretch out and get long. Maybe you want to do a little leg stretching. Whatever works for you. Take what your body is asking for. And then you can make your way into your Shavasana. So if you were near a piece of furniture and you wanted to do legs up as we did last week, you were absolutely welcome to do that. Another favorite of mine that I really like is to just bring a rolled blanket under my knees so that my lower back is supported. I'm just going to lift my hips slightly and then allow my legs to relax. The bigger the support is, the more relaxing it is. Or I could just plant my feet a little wider than my hips, allow my knees to relax in towards each other, and take a restorative Shavasana. So set yourself up, make yourself comfortable. So grab some water, grab your blanket or your sweater, get comfy. And then once you're there, I want you to do exactly as we did at the beginning of practice and observe how your body is feeling without judgment. So just noticing and perhaps noticing difference, but again, not judging it. Perhaps there's places where you were holding on to tension before that now feel more open and relaxed. Places that are feeling energized, and still other areas where you might still be feeling conservative. Just noticing it all. And then getting ready to release the practice, we'll take 3 really big breaths. So inhale, taking it all in through the nose, filling those lungs up as full as they will go. Hold for a moment, exhale, sigh it out. I really encourage you to open your mouth and even stick your tongue out for lion's breath as you do this. So again, nice big inhale. Holding the breath at the top, and then exhale. Release, letting the effort of the practice go, letting muscle tone, just letting the effort go, just allowing ourselves to relax. So one more big deep breath. Holding at the top, sigh it out. And as you do that, you can let your practice breath go and just resume your natural rhythmic breathing, relaxed and unrushed. Enjoy the feeling of stillness in your body. And know that as you rest, you're letting your body absorb the benefits, the many benefits of your practice. Allow yourself to take rest, and I'll let you know when it's time to go. You can begin bringing your attention back to where you are in space and time. Take a few deep breaths and invite some gentle movement back into your body, wiggling fingers and toes or taking a little stretch. Maybe taking a really big stretch. And then gently rolling over onto your right hand side and pausing there, allowing yourself to get your bearings before you come out to a comfortable seated position. And once you come up, bring yourself to sit nice and tall, shoulders relaxed down away from the ears. Hands can come to heart center, and you can lower your chin, close your eyes for a moment. A little piece of folk wisdom. A dame that knows the ropes isn't likely to get tied up, and that's Mae West. So let us all be dames who know the ropes. We're not going to get too tied up. Thank you for joining me today for practice. It was a pleasure. As always, namaste.